Okay, we have one from Chris who says, how do you dry a bike? He says, I'm 46 and I still have no idea how to finish off cleaning my bike properly. My son is riding cyclocross and see, someone's holding up the candle for cyclocross still.
On a gravel bike though.
And the mud has now hit in earnest, so I'm again wondering about this. He says he leaves his bike in the garage or shed, and if left to drip dry overnight, he notices rust spots will start to appear on the chain by morning, which is very common. He says, obviously I can dry it a bit with a cloth, but is that enough to then add chain oil? There's still a fair amount of wet on the drivetrain if I do this. I've been wondering about using a hairdryer, but then realised that this is almost certainly bonkers. So what is going wrong here?
I think there's probably loads of people which use hairdryers. I don't know if it is bonkers or not. We have a solution to this.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add on this, Nick?
I find this, I should have an answer for this, but I don't. The shop's got a massive heater and it just dries naturally in the shop because we don't leave things overnight wet.
Well, you're Mr. £15,000 bike, so you've probably got like a vault in your house.
My bike lives in the kitchen.
Well, we actually went through this. There was a point where we were living at my parents' house and we were keeping our bikes in the garage, and we found the same thing, didn't we?
Yes. So what you need to do is get a water displacer. In the UK, I don't know where else it's available. WD-40 is an example of it. I'm sure there's loads of other brands. And technically, it can be a lubricant, but don't use it as a lubricant. But what WD-40 actually does is it pushes water out of stuff. So make sure you don't get it anywhere near your rotors because it'll ruin them, or your brake pads or anything like that. Spray WD-40 on the chain, pushes all the water out, dry it with a rag, lube your chain up, obviously dry everything else with just a different cloth as well, and then hopefully you'll be all right. Simple as that. Bosh, done.
Not on the we did it on the cassette, didn't we?
Yeah, you catch a bit of the cassette.
But try and do not get your rotors.
Yeah, cover your rotors if you can, or just make sure it doesn't go anywhere near them. You can get disc brake cleaners. I always recommend getting ones for cars rather than bikes, because the ones for bicycles are unbelievably overpriced, and it's the exact same product as the one that they use for cars, which are always cheaper.
Or even cheaper, buy yourself clear alcohol, put it in a spray bottle, spray it on. Yes, I agree with everything you've said there. Dry your not your rotors, leave your rotors alone, they won't rust. Dry your disc brake calipers with a rag, possibly covered all in rag, spray the rest in WD-40, especially if you're in a shed. One thing I would say, do not miss out your spoke nipples. That's arguably the most important one you're going to drive, because people forget about that.
But dry them.
Well, dry them or no, WD-40 or use
I would never recommend that, because it's going to be so hard to spray your nipples without hitting your rotors.
Got all the hose thing. You just want to take some time, but trust me, in the long run, especially if you've got Mavic wheels, this will pay off because they won't seize up.
Was that a dig at Mavic wheels?
No, it's just I think there's more of them on people's bikes, and that is an issue back in the day.
Right.
It probably still is. And I would lube your chain before you go to bed.
Classic before bed activity for Nick Vieri.
Lubing his chin.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
And then logging it on his whoop.
Oh.
Thank you to everyone who wrote in. Keep sending your emails. We want your questions, your cycling stories, and other fun stuff. So send it to wildonespodcast@cademedia.co.uk. That's all for this week. Thanks for listening. Thank you to Nick for joining us. Make sure you follow and or subscribe so you don't miss out on the next episode. And we will see you next week.
Bye.
Thanks, Nick. See ya.